Did you know that a wildly popular heavy metal track could cause such a national uproar that its singer was summoned before the U.S. Senate accused of poisoning the minds of young listeners? From infamous Filthy 15 lists created to silence rebellious voices to explosive music videos so shocking they were banished from television screens. Here are 20 banned heavy metal songs that were too controversial. 1. Judas Priest's Eat Me Alive shocked Congress. Judas Priest, an English band celebrated for their singer's powerful voice and classic heavy metal look, released the song Eat Me Alive on their 1984 album, Defenders of the Faith. A concerned group of parents called the PMRC became very upset, declaring the song's words described improper grown-up actions. They believed lyrics detailing intense physical sensations were actually describing someone being forced into unpleasant private situations, possibly even with a weapon, which was seen as completely unsuitable for young listeners. As a result, Eat Me Alive was placed on the PMRC's widely discussed Filthy 15 list, making it a symbol of bad music and significantly contributing to the demand for warning labels on albums, which changed how music was sold. Judas Priest, however, did not change their style and continued making music their own way, while this particular song became a legendary part of music controversy history. But if you thought Judas Priest was wild, wait till you hear the song that made even store managers run for cover. 2. W.A.S.P's Animal was banned from music stores. W.A.S.P, an American rock band known for their wild stage performances and rebellious music, was responsible for this audacious song, Animal, F like a Beast, released as a single in 1984. The title itself, which included a very rude word for grown-up relations combined with the word beast, caused many people to react with disbelief and disgust. The PMRC quickly labeled the song as being about intercourse and included it on their Filthy 15 list, as many adults felt its content was far too crude and untamed for public consumption, especially in stores or on the radio where children might encounter it. Blackie Lawless, the band's leader, stated he merely wanted to be honest about basic human feelings, but his song certainly provoked intense anger from many quarters. This song created an enormous stir, with many stores refusing to sell it and radio stations avoiding its broadcast. The PMRC used it as a prime example of music they believed had gone too far. Blackie Lawless even reported receiving serious threats against the band and dealing with fake bomb scares at their concerts due to the song's notoriety. Ironically, all this trouble helped make the song a legendary track, and it remains one of W.A.S.P's most famous pieces, a true anthem of rebellion. Now, from carnal chaos to dark magic, the next band invited listeners straight into the devil's arms. 3. Mercyful Fate's Into the Coven scared parents. Mercyful Fate, a Danish heavy metal band fronted by the uniquely high-voiced singer King Diamond, who often wore scary face paint, presented this eerie tale in Into the Coven from their 1983 debut album, Melissa. This song deeply worried the PMRC, who placed it on their Filthy 15 list because they believed it was about the occult, which refers to magic, spirits, and mysterious phenomena. Lyrics inviting listeners to come into my coven and become Lucifer's child, with Lucifer being another name for the devil, made many religious people extremely anxious, fearing the song was a musical invitation to worship dark forces. Consequently, Into the Coven and Mercyful Fate were quickly branded as a satanic band, implying they supported evil. King Diamond explained that his interest was more in a philosophy of individualism rather than actual devil worship, but the band's spooky reputation persisted. While not universally banned, the song certainly made many parents hesitant about their children listening to Mercyful Fate, solidifying heavy metal's association with dark and mysterious themes. And just when parents thought it couldn't get worse, Black Sabbath roared back with a crash, literally. 4. Black Sabbath's Trashed caused major outrage. Black Sabbath, widely considered the originators of the heavy metal sound, were still creating impactful music, even with a different singer, when they released Trashed on their 1983 album, Born Again. The PMRC took strong issue with this song, adding it to their Filthy 15 list because they asserted it glorified bad habits, with lyrics vividly describing being heavily intoxicated and then crashing a vehicle. The group worried that the song made these hazardous activities seem like an exciting adventure, potentially inspiring young listeners to take similar risks. Due to its inclusion on this prominent list, Trashed was highlighted as a song with a potentially negative influence. Interestingly, the song was based on a real incident where the band's guitarist, Tony Iommi, had an accident in a car. While the band was likely just recounting a wild event rather than promoting dangerous behavior, the PMRC viewed it as another piece of music that could lead young people astray, further pushing the movement for warning labels on music. But that crash was only the warm-up. Coming next, a rally cry so loud it had Congress clenching its pearls. 5. Twisted Sister's We're Not Gonna Take It attacked. Twisted Sister, the American band easily recognized by their bright makeup and rebellious attitude, delivered the unforgettable song We're Not Gonna Take It, which became a massive hit from their 1984 album Stay Hungry. Surprisingly, this sing-along favorite was also included on the PMRC's Filthy 15 list, where it was accused of promoting violence. This accusation stemmed largely from its popular music video, in which a critical father yells at his son, who then transforms into singer Dee Snider, leading to comical scenes where the father is tossed about. The PMRC interpreted these scenes not as humorous, but as a harmful message that encouraged children to act aggressively towards their parents. Dee Snider, the band's outspoken frontman, personally went to the U.S. Senate to defend his song, explaining to government officials that the video was intended to be funny, like a cartoon, and that the song was about self-empowerment, not actual physical conflict. His articulate defense became quite famous. Despite being labeled as violent, the song achieved enormous success and is still widely enjoyed today, demonstrating that music intended as rebellious fun can sometimes be interpreted in very different ways. Yet Twisted Sister wasn't done. Next came a song that MTV wouldn't dare play when night fell. 6. Megadeth's In My Darkest Hour got blocked. Megadeth, the influential thrash metal band led by Dave Mustaine, expressed deep emotions in My Darkest Hour, a significant track from their 1988 album So Far, So Good, So What? MTV, the music video channel, examined the video and its serious lyrics, particularly a line suggesting things would be better if the person were dead and gone, and decided against broadcasting it. They were concerned it might be interpreted as promoting the idea of someone willingly ending their existence, a serious worry for a channel with a large young audience. As a result of this concern, the video was banned by MTV, limiting its public exposure at the time. Dave Mustaine clarified that the song was not about a desire to pass away, but was written in response to the deep sadness and sense of abandonment he felt after learning about the tragic death of his friend, Cliff Burton of Metallica. Despite this explanation of it being a song about grief, MTV maintained its decision, highlighting the channel's cautious approach to music, dealing with such profoundly serious themes. And then came another Megadeth hit, softer in sound, but louder in controversy. 7. Megadeth's A Tout Le Monde pulled again. Megadeth, continuing to produce impactful music, aimed for a more emotionally resonant feel with A Tout Le Monde, which translates to everyone, a notable song from their 1994 album Euthanasia. However, controversy arose once more. MTV again decided to ban the music video. The French lyrics, which included the lines, "To all my friends, I love you, I have to leave," when combined with a video portraying sad individuals who then disappeared, raised alarms for the network. They worried that the song and its visuals could be misconstrued as a final goodbye from someone intending to make themselves pass away. Dave Mustaine expressed considerable frustration, explaining that the song was inspired by a dream about his deceased mother having a chance to say the loving farewells she couldn't in life, making it a song of love and closure, in his view, not one of tragedy. Nevertheless, MTV adhered to its decision, making this song another focal point in discussions about how the messages in music can be interpreted or misinterpreted by audiences and institutions. But enough sadness, it's time to scream. The next band wore masks, made nightmares, and got banned before you could blink. 8. Slipknot Spit It Out video got banned. Slipknot, the 9-member masked band from Iowa known for their aggressive sound and chaotic stage presence, was poised to discover the answer with Spit It Out, an intensely popular track from their explosive 1999 self-titled debut album. The controversy centered entirely on its music video, in which the band paid homage to the terrifying movie The Shining by reenacting some of its most memorable and scary scenes. Upon reviewing the video, MTV deemed it too extreme, too violent, too unsettling, and too likely to cause nightmares for their viewers. Consequently, the video for Spit It Out was banned by MTV. The band and their fans were perplexed by this decision, arguing that the video was clearly a parody of a well-known film and not intended as a display of actual harmful content. Despite MTV's refusal to air it, Slipknot's raw energy and unforgettable live performances propelled them to superstardom anyway, demonstrating that sometimes being considered too scary for TV can be an intriguing part of a band's appeal. And if Slipknot scared you, buckle up. This next video had Lemmy rising from the grave. Literally. 9. Motorhead's Eliminated by Death was canceled by MTV. Motorhead, famously one of the loudest bands in the world, led by the iconic Lemmy Kilmister, were about to challenge MTV's content standards with their song Killed by Death, which appeared on their 1984 compilation album, No Remorse. The music video for this track was a spectacle of pure rock and roll energy, showing Lemmy performing daring feats on his motorcycle, surviving a mock execution, and emerging from his grave. The executives at MTV reviewed this display of wild action and concluded that it featured excessive and senseless rough actions, effectively deeming it too filled with pretend fighting and danger for their channel. As a result, MTV banned the video. For Motorhead, a band that embodied a spirit of rebellion, this ban likely only enhanced their reputation as rock and roll outlaws. Lemmy, with his distinctive voice and uncompromising attitude, was seen by many as the personification of rock and roll, and this video perfectly captured Motorhead's unapologetic and chaotic style. But controversy doesn't need zombies. Sometimes, just one powerful pose can set the world on fire. 10. Soundgarden's Jesus Christ pose caused big chaos. Soundgarden, an influential band from the Seattle grunge movement known for Chris Cornell's incredibly powerful vocals, was about to learn just how sensitive certain symbols can be with their song Jesus Christ Pose, a fierce track from their 1991 album Bad Motor Finger. The primary source of the controversy was the music video, which depicted various figures, including a skeleton and even vegetables, in poses reminiscent of Jesus on the cross. MTV promptly banned the video, labeling it blasphemous, meaning profoundly disrespectful to God and sacred things. Many religious individuals were deeply offended, feeling that the video mocked their faith. The situation became so intense that the band reported receiving serious threats of harm while they were touring in Europe. The ban limited the video's visibility, but the controversy itself was enormous. Soundgarden attempted to explain that the song was not intended to ridicule Jesus directly, but was instead a critique of public figures who theatrically portray themselves as suffering martyrs to gain attention. However, the imagery of the pose was so potent that many people could not look past the perceived attack on their faith, serving as a stark reminder of how explosive the intersection of rock music and religious symbolism can be. Let's jump back to Twisted Sister, who tried horror comedy and still got slammed. 11. Twisted Sister's zombie video was banned. Twisted Sister, still recognized by their vibrant makeup and flamboyant outfits, returned to generate more musical discussion with Be Cruel to Your School, a playful misspelling of "Be Cruel to Your School," a lively rock song from their 1985 album Come Out and Play, which even featured a guest appearance by the legendary Alice Cooper. The music video was like a short monster film set in a school, showing the band members as students and Alice Cooper as a teacher, before a horde of comical zombies, pretend reanimated dead people, overran the school, creating a great deal of amusing mess. However, MTV did not find it amusing, deeming the video too gross and objectionable and refusing to play it. This decision was particularly confusing because MTV had previously aired Michael Jackson's Thriller video, which was filled with much scarier zombies and had been very popular. Dee Snider, Twisted Sister's singer, was extremely angered by the ban, feeling that MTV was unfairly targeting them because they were a loud heavy metal band rather than a mainstream pop superstar. He considered it unjust, especially since the zombies in their video were clearly fake and intended to be funny. The ban negatively affected the song's potential popularity, demonstrating again the significant influence MTV had at the time in determining what young audiences would see and hear. But from funny zombies to tragic headlines, the next story turned one song into a courtroom nightmare. 12. Ozzy's self-harm solution ended up in court. Ozzy Osbourne, the renowned frontman who first gained fame with Black Sabbath and had since become a solo superstar with an even more notorious reputation, released Self-Harm Solution, a hard-hitting track from his impactful 1980 debut solo album Blizzard of Oz. The title itself, Self-Harm Solution, sounded to many as if it were suggesting that choosing not to live anymore was a viable answer to problems. This issue escalated dramatically in 1986 when the parents of a young man who had tragically ended his own life initiated a lawsuit against Ozzy Osbourne. They asserted that their son had been listening to this specific song and that its lyrics, including phrases like "where to hide," "that choice," "is the only way out," along with alleged hidden subliminal messages, had influenced him to take that action. This lawsuit became a major and frightening legal event. Ozzy had to defend himself, explaining that the song was actually written about his friend Bon Scott of AC/DC, who had sadly passed away due to excessive alcohol consumption, and that the word solution in the title referred to alcohol as a liquid. After extensive deliberation, the court ruled that Ozzy Osbourne was not to blame, affirming that song lyrics are protected by free speech principles and that there was no proof the song was intended to cause harm or that hidden messages could compel such actions. Ozzy won the case, but the song remained shadowed by this dark accusation for a considerable time. And just when that case closed, Judas Priest was dragged back into the courtroom for something even more chilling. 13. Judas Priest's Better by You faced lawsuits. Judas Priest, the iconic metal band already acquainted with controversy, found themselves embroiled in another terrifying legal ordeal concerning their song Better by You, Better Than Me, a powerful cover version included on their 1978 album Stained Class. In 1990, the band was sued by the families of two young men who had made a pact to end their own lives. One of them passed away, while the other was severely injured and passed away some years later due to complications. Their families were convinced that the Judas Priest song contained subliminal messages, secret words, possibly "do it," hidden within the music, which they believed had compelled the young men to make this dreadful decision. The courtroom atmosphere was tense. The band members firmly denied inserting any secret messages into their music, while lawyers for the families played recordings backward in an attempt to find evidence. Ultimately, the judge ruled that Judas Priest was not guilty. While there might have been some unusual sounds in the recording, the judge found no evidence that the band had intentionally placed them there to cause harm, nor was there proof that such messages could actually make someone take such extreme actions. Judas Priest was cleared, but the trial was a frightening experience that highlighted the significant fear and suspicion that heavy metal music could sometimes generate. Now let's take a turn into the truly grotesque, a band whose lyrics and covers were banned around the world. 14. Cannibal Corpse songs were banned in countries. Cannibal Corpse, the American death metal group, is renowned for pushing the boundaries of shocking lyrical content and gruesome artwork further than perhaps any other band, with song titles alone that are often enough to cause listeners to shudder. Their songs frequently describe, in explicit detail, fictitious scenes of extreme harm and other disturbing acts, and their album covers commonly feature cartoonish yet incredibly graphic illustrations of these imagined scenarios. Because their material is so over the top with its depictions of pretend violence and causing terrible harm to fictional characters, many people find it deeply offensive and express concern that it trivializes serious issues. Some individuals believe the content is so extreme that it should not be permitted at all. As a consequence, Cannibal Corpse effectively became international musical outlaws. Several countries either banned their albums outright or heavily censored them. In Germany, for many years, they were prohibited from performing songs from their first few albums live, and their album covers were often hidden from view or sold in plain packaging. Australia also imposed restrictions on their music. The band consistently maintains that their work is akin to an extreme horror movie, entirely fictional and intended as entertainment, not a reflection of real-life desires or events. Nevertheless, their music remains some of the most controversial and parent-unfriendly material ever produced. You want history? Slayer gave it to you raw, and not everyone thought it was just a song. 15. Slayer's Angel of Death caused worldwide backlash. Slayer, recognized as one of the undisputed titans of thrash metal and known for their incredibly fast music and dark lyrical themes, released the historically horrifying Angel of Death as the explosive opening track on their legendary 1986 album, Rain in Blood. The song describes in shocking and graphic detail the terrible medical experiments conducted by Joseph Mengele, a real old German military doctor at the Auschwitz concentration camp during World War II, a place of unimaginable human suffering. Because the song did not continuously reiterate that Mengele was evil, but instead focused on detailing his horrific actions, some listeners quickly concluded that Slayer must be old German military sympathizers, or that they found Mengele's deeds somehow admirable. This was an extremely serious and damaging accusation. The song caused a significant uproar, to the extent that their original record company initially refused to release the album. Slayer vigorously defended themselves, stating unequivocally that they were not old German military and that the song was simply a historical account of profound evil, much like a factual report. Despite their explanations, the accusations of old German military sympathies persisted for many years, illustrating that when artists address the darkest aspects of human history, they risk being misunderstood. Furthermore, their later album Christ Illusion was recalled from stores in India because Christian groups were deeply offended by its artwork, which depicted a disfigured Jesus. If that shocked you, brace yourself. The next band tore up a Bible on stage and ended up in court. 17. Body Count's cop killer angered the president. Body Count, the groundbreaking band that uniquely fused Ice-T's street-conscious rap lyrics with the heavy impact of metal music, released the musical bombshell Cop Eliminator, which became the most intensely discussed track on their 1992 self-titled debut album. The song was written from the perspective of a fictional character who, being completely fed up with instances of police mistreating people, decides to seek revenge by causing deadly harm to law enforcement officers. This song was released during a period of heightened real-life tensions concerning police actions. Numerous police organizations, prominent politicians, including then-President George H.W. Bush, and various parent groups were profoundly outraged, arguing that the song irresponsibly encouraged actual harm against police officers and was therefore extremely dangerous. The pressure against the song and the band became immense, with calls for boycotts and even threats directed at Ice-T and the record company. Ice-T defended the song as a work of fiction, a character expressing extreme anger and an exercise of free speech. However, the controversy was so intense that Ice-T eventually voluntarily removed Cop Eliminator from future pressings of the Body Count album, stating he did not want the record company or other artists to suffer due to the backlash. Cop Eliminator remains a legendary example of music igniting a massive social and political firestorm, and it continues to be a key reference point in discussions about censorship and artistic freedom. And if you thought that was extreme, wait till you hear about a song that was too dangerous even for Germany. 18. Rammstein's Ich tu dir weh was banned. Rammstein, the German industrial metal superstars, celebrated for their incendiary stage performances and deeply provocative lyrical content, were certainly about to test all established limits with their song Ich tu dir weh, which translates to I Hurt You, from their 2009 album Liebe ist für alle da, Love is for Everyone, featuring lyrics about deriving pleasure from causing discomfort, and their single The P Word, released from the same album, which was accompanied by a music video that was far beyond merely explicit. German authorities decided that the lyrics of Ich tu dir weh, concerning finding enjoyment in causing violence, were potentially harmful to young people, and consequently placed the entire album on a special restricted list, making it difficult for consumers to purchase. They expressed concern that the song made harmful actions seem appealing. The music video for The P Word, meanwhile, was not just suggestive. It contained actual scenes of naked adults engaging in very private grown-up activities, rendering it completely unsuitable for normal television broadcast. Rammstein initially had to re-release their album in Germany without Ich tu dir weh to comply with the restrictions. However, they challenged this decision in court and successfully had it overturned, with the judge ruling that the song constituted a work of art. The extraordinarily explicit video for The P Word was released on an adult website and quickly garnered millions of views precisely because its forbidden and shocking nature generated immense curiosity. Rammstein once again demonstrated that sometimes the more controversial an artistic creation is, the more intensely people will seek it out. But the most offensive thing of all? It wasn't even a song. It was just a t-shirt. 19. Cradle of Filth shirt led to arrests. Cradle of Filth, the English extreme metal band recognized for their vocalists' high-pitched shrieking style and their dark gothic musical themes, were responsible for this infamous piece of merchandise which caused a massive stir in the 1990s. This particular controversy was not centered on a specific song, but rather on a t-shirt the band sold. The front of the t-shirt displayed an image of a nun appearing to engage in a private act, while the back bore the extraordinarily offensive slogan, "Jesus is a cunt," with the last word being an extremely vulgar and insulting term for a woman's private anatomy. This t-shirt was perceived as a deeply offensive item, especially by Christians and many others, who found its combination of the name of Jesus with such a crude word to be an ultimate act of disrespect and hatred. The image on the front further fueled the outrage. It was clearly designed to shock, and it succeeded spectacularly in doing so. Individuals who dared to wear this t-shirt in public places reportedly faced serious consequences, including being arrested in various countries for disturbing public order or for blasphemy. Stores that stocked the t-shirt also encountered protests. The band became legendary for this provocative item, even though many people viewed it merely as disgusting rather than artistically clever, highlighting that sometimes the merchandise a band sells can be even more explosive than their musical compositions. Now, a band that pushed every boundary, musically, visually, and ideologically. 20. Marduk's war songs got banned worldwide. Marduk, the Swedish black metal group known for their furious musical speed and their avowed dedication to being one of the most blasphemous bands in existence since their formation in 1990, has consistently embraced dark and provocative themes. Their song titles and album artwork often serve as a defiant declaration against religious conventions, with early demo recordings like F-Word Me Jesus, which featured a very shocking cover image involving a nude woman and a crucifix, immediately establishing the band's confrontational artistic direction. They also frequently incorporate themes from World War II into their music, often utilizing German war machine imagery. Their overtly aggressive anti-Christian lyrics and imagery are offensive to many religious individuals. Furthermore, their intense focus on World War II, particularly their use of German military themes, has led to endless accusations that the band harbors sympathies for old German military ideology, which is an extremely serious charge given the historical atrocities associated with old German militarism. Consequently, Marduk has faced numerous problems, including protests and cancellations of their concerts in various countries. The band members have consistently denied any old German military affiliations, stating their interest in World War II is purely historical or thematic. However, these accusations have persisted, fueled by incidents such as a 2018 report alleging that 2 band members purchased old German military propaganda, and more recently, the reported dismissal of their bass player for allegedly making an old German military salute on stage. The cloud of darkness and controversy continues to envelop Marduk. But where should we draw the line between free art and being responsible? Are they even separate things? Let us know. Smash that like button and subscribe for more.